All right. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good night. I got a fishing trip scheduled for tomorrow, so I'm gonna do a little setup here and talk ice fishing, and then I'm gonna tie some flies, prep some gear, and all that. So let's get some materials out here while I wait. So we're going in a lake up here in the North Country of New York tomorrow. Probably go over where we're going just to do a little recon, a map recon of it before leaving the stream here. But for now, we'll talk about that later. I'm just prepping some materials here. I got them listed on the screen for the most part. There's going to be a few outliers that are not listed there, but I'll cover them in a little bit. So I gotta get some hooks. I gotta go small with the hooks. Also some dubbing, which probably isn't on the list there. We've got a whole bunch of crystal flash here. Just about any color you can possibly imagine. So we'll have those available for our choosing. Just laying this crap everywhere. We'll go through this. These patterns that we're gonna tie for perch and bluegill and crappie, they're all pretty simple patterns. So it doesn't take a lot, but you can have endless color combinations and all that. So we do like tying it. Pretty easy, but like I said, color combinations matter. We're gonna tie a couple of each until we run out of time or get tired of tying. But let's be honest, we don't really get tired of tying ever. So that's gonna take a while. So I just got a couple of these huge boxes of materials. Next one I'm grabbing here is all the hooks. And it's just literally an old tackle box. So, but I reuse it. I got hooks in here by size and shape. So we'll keep those out because we're probably gonna need some of those. And then I got one for thread bobbins. We're gonna grab some wire. You want to make these heavy. I'm gonna grab gold and silver. I'm gonna grab some tinsel as well. So you never know. And then I'm gonna get 70 denier ultra thread. It's a little hard to see because it's worn, but we're gonna grab some of that for our thread tonight. I'm gonna use that on all the flies. It's not gonna be a big deal. We got here. We got some more beads. I'm not gonna worry about those unless the beads that I have selected out do not work with the hooks we're tying. Then I'll come and grab some more beads. Then I got some miscellaneous materials, like some UV curing, stuff like that. I don't think we're gonna need that tonight, so we're gonna hold off on that. And on top here, I just cut more stuff. Some more Flashaboo, so we'll keep that out. Got a bunch of chenille, ecstasy material here. Got some thread, which I don't think we're gonna need all of tonight. But we do need some of this marabou that I see in here. We got some gold, or some yellow marabou. We got some brown. More flashabou. We got olive marabou. These will just help us with our color combinations. And then we got black marabou. I think that's all the marabou we have right now in stock. Let me just verify. I could grab some peacock curls, but I don't know if we're gonna use them or not. But I think that's pretty good there. Drops material. Put that in there. Put this box away. Now I just have a large pile of things here on my desk. So appreciate the likes out there for everyone liking the video. I got a checklist of some things that I need to pack for tomorrow. And I may go over that later in case you guys ever wonder kind of like what I take every ice fishing trip. This is a list that I maintain and I update as I go. But I also got a bunch of materials behind me here that I'm going to be taking, and I'll go over those because I'll also be prepping those. For example, the tip-ups, I got to prep those with the with my treble hooks and steel leaders and stuff like that for pike fishing tomorrow. But okay, I think we may do that first. Yeah, let's do that. With that, I'll kind of go over some knots that I tie and go over the stuff here. So I'm going to switch to the hand cam primary here, just to get this a little bigger for y'all and so that you can see. If anyone has any questions, please type them up. If you do have questions, you'll have to be signed into your YouTube account to leave a comment, or your Google account, whatever it is. So we got our tip up here. This is just a Celsius tip up from Walmart. It was, I want to say it was $10 to $12 total, which is really good for ice fishing. It's got an adjustable shaft on it, and the dual wind, whether there's a lot high wind or low wind. It also comes pre-spooled, which is awesome. You can't beat that. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we got our steel leader on from last year already. These you don't really need to replace each year unless they're all mangled up. With this here, we got a we tied, look at me, as it was. We got a big split shot here that will kind of help the minnow sink. I'm going to tuck this thread in the middle here, just like we would when we go fishing. Then I'm going to kind of reel it in a little bit. This is the reel for the ice fishing rig. It's really simple. This is a really simple tool, but still super convenient and really good for pike fishing, you know, and having a good time fishing with friends. So now I'm just gonna get my treble hooks. These are new. I do buy these new each year. just to keep them sharp. But these are size 4 Eagle Claw laser sharp treble hooks. They're pretty big for what I'm used to using, but for pike fishing they work perfect. And we're just gonna hook that into our swivel on the end of our steel leader, and that's gonna be it. Pretty simple, right? What do I hear out there on my floor? I think the cats are playing out there. You can hear them. All right, and with that said, I don't think I'm gonna actually hook these up, just because I don't want my son going through hooks in my truck tomorrow morning and getting hooked up. So I will be trying to take my oldest son tomorrow ice fishing. He hasn't been ice fishing before, so it should be a fun time for him, and hopefully we can get into some fish. If not, he's going to be very bored very fast. So hopefully that's not the case. That's my setup for those. Let me get some other materials here. So we got two rods here, which I'll put these a little closer because I got a tie on one of them. I got a mess here too, unfortunately. Got a stack of hand warmers. But then I also wanted to cover these right here. So I made these last year and tested them out. They're pretty good. They're just insulation covers for the tip hooks, right? Pretty simple how it works. You drill your hole, and then you just slide this through the slit that you make here. You sit this up on top of your ice hole that you drilled with your auger, and it keeps the hole insulated and prevents it from icing over. It's not perfect. As I tested last year, it does ice over still, but it does significantly help in keeping the ice out of your hole. So I got two different types here, and these are just cutouts that I made with I think I used a 8 or 10-inch dinner plate and trace a circle in some plastic or styrofoam packing material. And then this one here is like your gym type mat, your yoga mats that you put together like puzzle pieces. It works the same way, but it's a 1 foot by 1 foot thing, so it can cover larger holes. But I usually just sit it on top, no matter what size hole I drill. But it works the same way. It just keeps the wind out and prevents the ice from freezing over the top of the lake as much as possible. Like I said, it's not foolproof, that's for sure. But this is all spun up on me, so I'll get that taken care of. All right, now we'll get some fly tying materials ready. Unless anyone has any questions, of course. If anyone does have questions, I will stop what I'm doing as soon as I see them, and get those answered as soon as possible. So please, if you have a question, leave a comment, flag my attention, and I will get to you as soon as I can. Right, I'm looking for hook selection now. So I want something small, but probably something a little on the larger side at first, just to get back. I haven't tied in like 2 or 3 weeks, so just to get back in the groove of tying flies. I'm going to take a size 12 wide bend hook. which is still pretty small. But this is what we're going to select. And since we're just fishing for panfish, it's not going to matter really the strength of your hook, in my opinion. It may matter a little bit, but with this, what I'm going to do, this is a curved hook. I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. And then I'm also, this is a straight shank hook. I'm actually going to bend that to make it a jig. And I can already see people saying, well, why would you do that? Like I said, these panfish, I'm not worried about them breaking hooks. If this were salmon season, then yeah, absolutely. I would not be tearing hooks in half or bending them over just to make a jig. But this is not salmon season, and I think we'll be all right. So there, I just made a real simple jig. I'm trying to get it to focus here. And we're going to slide a slotted bead up into that. Maybe. Still working on the shape of the hook here. Don't like how the bend starts way back there. Trying to straighten it out just a little bit. All right, that's much better. And then I can move this. I almost pricked myself. Bend this jig just a little bit more. All right, good to go. All right, now we are going to find our beads and get that slid up on there. I don't know the size of these beads that I'm using right now because they're in an old container that I can't really see the label on. But nonetheless, we're going to use them anyway. Next step here, before we put the bead on, I'm going to mash the barb of my hook. One, it'll make it a lot easier to put the bead on. And just personally, I think that mashing the barb helps with ice fishing and just setting the hook in general. So it helps you land more fish and hook more fish, in my opinion. There's other opinions out there, but that's fine. I like smashing the barbs on my hooks for fly fishing, for panfish fishing, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I just slid the bead over the hook point, and now I'm gonna put this in the fly tying vise. Make sure it's nice and tight. All right, I do need to grab some other materials in here. Forgot about my scissors, bobbin holder. Those are kind of important. Put that down and away. First, we're going to get our thread and the bobbin. Like I said, we're using UTC Ultra Thread in fluorescent orange, 70 denier. Want to keep it thin as possible. I'm just going to wet the tag end of this with my tongue like that. And then I'm going to slide it up through the bobbin holder. If the static electricity allows me to do it anyway. Bear with me, guys. This is difficult in the lighting that I have here. All right, then I'm gonna suck the air through this and pull the thread through. Just like that. All right, now our thread is through. We're gonna get a little closer here. Next, we're gonna put some wire on here, just a little. It's a little thicker than I normally would, but I'm out of the thickness I normally use. But this is lead-free 0.02 wire. It's round, and I would use 0.015, but I am out of stock on that, and I'm gonna just go a shorter length here with it. But we do want to add some of this weight on here and shove it up into our bead head, just so we can balance the bead head a little bit and kind of secure it a little better. So we got that built. Like I said, we're just going to shove this right up into the bead head if we can, or directly behind it there, just like that. And I'm going to try to zoom in here just a little bit if it maintains focus. If not, there. Hope we had focus. Sorry, bear with me. Come on, focus. So if I hold something behind it, it focuses. Sorry guys. So it focused at first. For a split second, it focused. There we go. Now if I just hold really still, so it doesn't focus on the Penn State sweatshirt I have on. All right. So I'm just gonna get some thread and start wrapping behind our wire. Make a few wraps for a jam knot. And trim off the excess there. I'm going to work my way all the way back to the bend of the hook. And then here is where our first tie-in point is going to be. I'm going to make a little like bump here, a little thread dam for a marabou tail. So yellow was the first color we pulled out of the box. That's what I'm going to use. So our next material here is marabou. I'm just going to grab a very short amount of, or a very thin amount, small amount of marabou feathers. And we're going to use the tips of those feathers, of course. So we're going to use the tips and we're going to tie those in, but we'll cut everything after we've tied it all in. And I'm just going to wet my fingers with this, help control the marabou a little bit. I'm going to make this the full length of the hook here. And this is not easy when you're only using small amounts of marabou. It's actually easier to use large clumps, but we just want this to be really thin and low profile. I'm then going to use the marabou with the loose loose open wraps around up to the back of our wire to kind of even out the body of this thing. And then I'm going to snip it off with our pair of scissors here. We're also going to go back and tie a single strand of Flashaboo with the tail. So that'll be part of our tail. Right there, I just went around the bottom of the shank of the hook, just the shank without going over the material. Yeah. Kind of locks it in place. All right, I'm trying to separate my marabou versus my Flashaboo. My goodness. You guys seen the selection of Flashaboo that we had at the beginning. Now it's the hard part of going through and actually selecting one that we like. So I want to do sort of a color match type, but not a true match. So just bear with me. I'm going to go through these. I mean, that's a candidate there, the fluorescent orange. There's an actual yellow. No blue yet. I do want to tie some blue though, so I'm going to throw that in the good pile for now. This is like a purple fluorescent. No, we'll pass on that. The red. No, I don't really have anything red tonight. It's more like a steel blue. White, can't go wrong with that. Pink. Yeah, I'll throw some pink in there. I'm trying to think of just different color combinations with my marabou and this. Orange, no. Gold, I don't like gold. There's a different color of blue. Add it in, you can't go wrong with blue. There's like a silver, I'll add that for the black color so we have. Here's a white with a purple flash on it. We'll use that. Another blue here. It's a plain white. I don't like it. Luckily, we have enough of these that we can afford to make choices. Here's a fluorescent green or chartreuse. I like that. We already got a pink flavor. There's like a darker green. We'll give it a try. It's like a John Deere green. There's a multicolor blue and orange. Not a fan. That one's alright. Gray and blue together. There's another yellow green. Pink, purple, or magenta. There's like a rainbow color. Pass. No. I'm gonna move it over here. Cream. Red and black. Ooh. I do like some red and black. And just black. Okay. So now we kind of separated our what we think we're going to use versus what we're definitely not going to use. And we still have a lot of decisions to make. But the first one being, what are we going to use with this pattern? So I said I wanted to color match this. So I'm going to grab all the greens and yellows that we have here and kind of group them together. Maybe we make this a true John Deere fly. Right, so those are all over there. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. We're going to do a John Deere fly. So we got John Deere green. We got yellow. That's going to be our pattern for this. Good old John Deere. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take a single strand of this, or less, really. We're really only going to need like half a strand, if that. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut off the shank, so to speak, of this thing here. I have marabou feathers attached to me. Just like this. And we're going to cut that in half again. So then and the other half will be for our next fly that we tie. We're going to tie the same fly twice for each of the patterns tonight, or the color combinations. Which I don't know how many I'll get done. It's already 10:30. But nonetheless, it's all good fun. So I'm just cutting this in half. Like I said, one is for later. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half again and then overlap the two pieces that we just cut. Just overlap them as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to trim it later. Next, I'm going to fold these two pieces over our thread. Try to fold it as close to the center as you can, and then attach it to the top of the hook. Then go rearward a few times, and then kind of just blend it in with our marabou tail. It's actually taking over a little bit because we've got such a thin amount of marabou. I think for our next one, I want to thicken it up a little bit. We're going to end our thread there. We're going to add gold wire, just a little bit. We only need a small amount of this. This will help add some weight to the fly and also kind of secure our wraps to the shank of the hook. So once we got that, we're going to go up the body of the fly here. We're going to go all the way to the back of the bead head. We're going to wrap our wire as much as possible here. Just try to cover it up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I don't want any of it exposed to for a fish to bite into and then immediately get turned off to it. And we want the body to have kind of a smooth transition, which is why we tied the marabou all the way up to the back of the thing. All right, that's good. Now we just gotta add a little body transition here. All right. The body's looking a lot smoother now. Now we are going to take our wire and make open wraps around. And we want to make these wraps the same distance apart from each other or very close. I know it's not always going to be perfect, but we're going to make these as close to equal distance as possible from the wrap before it. I'm just going to go up to about where our thread is now, which is about 1 bead's length behind the bead itself, and then we're going to wrap that up. So that just gives the fly some segmentation on the body, and I know it's kind of hard to see here in general, but you can kind of see it. There, you can see it a little bit. Just gives it some body segmentation. Then we're going to wrap up and make sure that we cover the tag end of that wire. Next, we are going to add a very small dubbing loop here. Well, not a dubbing loop, but a dubbing head of the fly, for the thorax of the fly. And I'm just gonna use Golden Stone SLF blend, dubbing blend. This is a UV style blend, and we're just gonna grab a very small pinch of this. You do not need a lot here. I'm gonna twist that onto our thread, slide it up, and then begin wrapping around for the thorax here. Like I said, this is just real thin. We're gonna brush it out a little bit when we're done here. But now I just need to tie off this fly, and it'll be almost good to go. So we got a whip finish tool here. We're gonna make a few turns. Do it two times. 5 to 7 turns usually. At the end of the night is when I do all the gluing for all the flies I tie. Yeah, but for now we're gonna leave that for later. And now we just gotta go in and trim our green here. I wanna make it as actually, yeah, it actually turned out kind of good. But look how simple this fly is. And like I said, I want to work on this. The next one, I got to make the tail a little thinner or thicker. But this fly here is pretty simple. It'll just be a real simple, I'm trying to show you, jig for panfish. For tomorrow morning. So it's got a tail, it's got some flash in the tail, it's got a bead head, it's got a thorax, it's got some wire for body segmentation. It's got some basic features of a fly that are generally successful. So, cool. Moving on. All right, let's see. I want to do that fly again. Same pattern, but I'm just trying to think ahead what I want to do after that. So this time I'm going to grab a few more of these feathers than I did last time. And again, I'm going to moisten those down to help guide and control where they're going. But I'm going to lay that down for later. Okay. Next step, we need a hook. I think that's an appropriate size hook for this fly. And use the same style, same size 12. Once again, if there's any questions in the chat, please let me know. We'll answer your questions about ice fishing, salmon fishing, pretty much any type of fishing, and fly tying. Excuse me. First, I'm going to correct our hook. Just make some cosmetic changes here. Bend it out. Straighten it just a little bit. This is not easy to do, by the way. Okay, and then make our homemade jig head. Oh, my hands are shaking hard tonight. There we go. Look at that jig. Too easy. Gotta pinch the barb next to allow the bead to slide on easily and to help us hook more fish tomorrow morning. Some mashed barb hooks more fish, in my opinion. And if you haven't tried it, I recommend that you do. It's awesome. Fly fishing has changed a lot of my outlook in fishing in general, so as much as I love doing this, it still does not compare to fly fishing. Not even close. But that's alright. So we got our bead now. I'm gonna grab the bead with the pliers, needle nose pliers. So it kind of just helps me put it on the hook easier. Don't have to worry about getting my fingers close to the hook point. Just slides right on there. And then we secure this to our vise. We get a very tiny amount of wire and helicopter it free. Like I said, we're using 0.020, but I would be using 0.015 if I had it available right now. We're just going to wrap that around the shank of the hook. Make sure the wraps are tight against each other and that the ends are as much wrapped around the actual shank as possible. Got to really use your fingernail here and then slide them together. And we're going to push that up into the bead head and then attach our thread to this, to the shank of the hook, right behind the bead head. We're going to build up a little dam at the bead head and then cover the bead head with thread. Not the bead head, but cover the wraps, weighted wraps with thread as much as possible. So that we can make a smooth transition down into the fly later. But it's already looking pretty good. I might just stop there and then do a little bit more later when we get the marabou up to that point at least. So I'm just making a little thread base here back to the bend of the hook. A little thread dam right there at the bend where our tie-in point is. We got our marabou here from what we selected earlier. It's a little thicker this time, but it's not crazy. I'm gonna add that to the top of the hook here. Do a pinch wrap, so I'm pinching it with my thumb and index finger here before cinching it down. Then I do a wrap underneath it, just around the shank of the hook to lock it all in. And then I'm gonna make some open wraps up to the lead-free wire. And cut off the excess close here. And then we're gonna cover those wraps completely. We're gonna cover our marabou and really lock it in. This is like a John Deere fly with John Deere yellow and green, but then also an orange body. It's just something funky. Doesn't have to be perfect. Bright colors in the dark water with the ice. Sometimes it can be pretty light, but it's going to be a little dark. I want to see how the silver wire stands out more this time, if it stands out any better. The gold wire kind of just blended in. But first we got to tie in our green Flashaboo. We're going to cut it in half. Fold it first, so that it makes cutting in half tremendously easier. Like that. And we're going to fold this over our thread, do a little loop, and then push this backwards with the marabou. Cover that up, and we're good to move on. I do already like the tail end of this better than the last one that we did already. Okay, now we got some silver ultra wire in small size. We're going to grab just a little bit of this, probably 2 inches of this. We're going to spin it around here while pinching it with one thumb to break and helicopter it off and break it even. And once again, any questions out there, please just leave a comment, sign into your YouTube channel. And you don't have to have a channel, but your Google account or your YouTube account that is required to like or comment on videos. So we secured our silver wire there. We're going to go up to 1 bead length behind the bead. That'll be our next tie-in point for the dubbing. I'm going to make open spiral wraps. Yeah, this does look better. On the orange, this looks better than the gold, in my opinion. That's probably what we'll tie on the rest that have an orange base tonight. We're just securing this down, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier. We're going to helicopter it free. I don't know if you just heard that. My back just cracked just by dropping my shoulders. Okay. So we got some John Deere yellow and green in the tail. The last one we did golden stone. I'm going to do a different color this time. I'm going to go damsel olive right here. So it's kind of like a blend of the two colors. So I think it would be appropriate to do that. And I'm going to make this one a little more buggier, just like the last one was like a really thin little guy. This one's going to be a little thicker. Just a little. On the tail end and the front end. Right. Not much thicker at all. But now we're going to tie this off with a whip finish. And a second whip finish. All right, fly number 2 is complete for the night. Now we're going to shift colors. And we are going to go with brown this time. So we went with a bright color. Now we're going to go with a more natural color with brown. Brown on the marabou, that is. I've only got 4 marabou colors right now. So we did 2 flies with yellow. I'm going to do 2 flies with brown, 2 flies with green and or olive, and then if time permits, 2 flies with black. But let's get our dubbing out of the way. Next, we need a hook, of course. And I think I'm just going to tie all these on the same exact hook tonight. In future nights, I'll play around with sizes and shapes and types of hooks, or brands, I should say. But tonight, I'm just going to do the same hook on everyone, because these patterns were not varying in size, we're varying in color tonight. So I'm not too worried about the size and the type of hook. But just like last time, we got to straighten this out a little. That one was much more cooperative than the last one. I'm going to pinch the barb of the hook while I'm here, just with some needle nose pliers. You don't have to buy barbless hooks for fishing. Just pinch down the end. Works just fine. Now I'm going to make the jig part of our hook. Just like that. Look at that, you can't even tell that it looks like I bought it that way. Grab a bead. The bead is very important for weight and weight distribution with perch fishing or panfish fishing. Part of me wants to get into a lot of perch tomorrow, and then the other part of me doesn't want to because all the cleaning of fish I'd have to do. But we got a group of friends going tomorrow. Hopefully we can, some of us can get into some fish at least. I mean, hopefully all of us do, but this is my first time on the ice this year, so. And we need to be careful with checking the thickness. I'm gonna have to check some charts. I don't think I'm gonna be able to take the sled out. The snowmobile is probably gonna have to stay here at home, unfortunately, just with the thickness and the weather. Get some more wire, but we want to be safe. Like I said, I'm taking my son tomorrow, so the first time I don't want to get in any hairy situations with too much weight on the ice. So we're gonna leave the sled at home. I wish I could have it because that just makes the time go better. Having a snowmobile with you ice fishing is like awesome. There's lull moments when there's no fish biting, you're too hot or too cold. Just want to go out and ride, rip around a little bit. It's perfect. All right, we got our wire on there. Now we got to get the thread on here. The jam knot. We got a little tray here of discarded materials and thread and everything else. So put that down there. Make some wraps on this. I'm not going to do a lot of wraps this time. See our wire's trying to escape here. Just push it down and make some more wraps around it. And we're going to go back to the bend of the hook, make a dam, and get our olive marabou. golden olive marabou. My apologies. I can't read apparently. It's all the same. Alright, we just tore a good clump out. I went even heavier this time. Screw it. I'm going all in. All in on the marabou. I mean, it does wonders for suet, so why not give it a shot? We're going to control it though. Tame this with a little saliva. Makes it much more manageable. It'll dry out and poof out. Make some pin traps here. 2 pin traps. And then tighten those down. Go underneath all the material, just around the shank of the hook. Once. And tighten that down. And then we're making open spiral wraps to the wire. The weighted wire that we added. Just to help make a smooth transition. And then we cut it free. And all this material here is essentially wasted, but that's fine. We can't use all the marabou tail for this, so now we are I'm not gonna make a perfect, well, I lied. It's not gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna try to make it as perfect as I can here. But I just want to keep this thin because I'm gonna add some actual dubbing this time to the body of the fly. So there's that. Now we've got to select our flash. I think I'm gonna go with this here. And man, I said I was gonna do brown next, but I picked up the olive, so we're sticking with olive. This time though, we're gonna use 2 different flashes on it. Just because I got all these that I gotta use. So I'm just gonna cut off about 2.5, 3 inches of this flashaboo, or crystal flash, whatever you want to call it. I discarded that because I don't want to use the same color twice tonight with this, just because we have so many of them. Got rid of our John Deere green there as well. All right, now we potentially lost our piece that we just cut out. Where'd it go? Sorry about that. There it is. We're gonna fold this and cut it in half. Actually, our folded length is about the length of the long marabou that I cut this time and tied in. So I'm not gonna cut it in half twice. I'm just gonna put it on there, fold it around, and secure it to the top of the shank best as we can. And make just a few wraps rearward to secure it in. I mean, it looks like a pretty good fly to me. Use our silver wire. Next, get about 2 inches, 3 inches, closer to 2, and spin this free. We're going to tie that in right above the tail. And I always tie it on the side closest to me. I don't know, it's just personal preference. You don't have to do that, but I do. It's like a big up there in our body, but with the thorax being up there, you won't even notice. All right, we're gonna go back now, and this time, I think we could tie some tinsel in here. So I'm gonna tie some tinsel and make this a gold body. On this fly. Alright, tinsel's tricky, so when you tie it on, you're going to want to tie it opposite of what you would think, so that when you go to wrap it, it's going to flip the color and give you the right color on it. So right now I'm tying the silver part facing me, because when I start wraps, the gold part is actually going to show up. All right, I tied that back to the base of the tail. Now I'm going to go up to our next tie-in point. All right, so when I start making wraps now, you'll see the gold is on the outside. So you just want to overlap your wraps a little bit here, just so you get a full body coverage of this. And this thing is shiny. I like it. And since I got so much, I'm just going to go back over it all. Why not? Just make sure we got full coverage of everything. And then we're going to tie it in nice and tight. A few wraps above it. A few wraps not around it, but in front of it. Just the shank. And we snip it off. Next, we're going to wrap our wire over this. This will really help secure the tinsel down and give it some more segmentation even. Even though tinsel does a good job at segmenting itself for appearance. We're just going to make open wraps around until we get all the way to the tie-in point of our tinsel. Not the tie-in, the tie-out. And then we're going to helicopter that out. Too easy. Okay, no questions tonight. Okay, that's fair. It's all right. No questions is good too. But I am here to help. All right. I think we may use the same pattern, or we can go dragonfly olive. I'm gonna go dragonfly olive. I know last time we did damsel olive, but this time we're gonna go dragonfly olive, and we're gonna give it a good solid pinch here. I'm gonna pull it apart and spread it out. Like I said, this is all UV dubbing, so it'll look pretty sweet under certain light conditions. And I don't know what the fish can see, but I mean, to me it looks nice, so I'm gonna stick with it. All right, this guy is the appropriate amount of bugginess, I think, compared to the last couple. So I'm gonna whip finish this, and I'm gonna brush these out later with an old toothbrush. Usually is what I do, or I get like a bodkin and just pick out some of the dubbing. and make it a little raggedy. But this time I'll probably just get a toothbrush. An old toothbrush here to make our thing a little buggier looking. Right, I like the way that one looks. I mean, right now that's the winner of the night. I like the gold tinsel. I think that was a good idea. Okay, moving on. We got one more of the golden olive marabou tail, and then we got 4 more of like a natural type tail. But this time I'm not going to do green for the primary color of the entire thing. It's going to have a green tail, but I'm going to go different colors. Okay. I think I'll try different dubbing colors and different crystal flash. With that said, I'm going to get rid of all these yellow type, green type flashes. We're going to use like a blue, white, pink this time. Looks like those are our available things that we said we were going to tie tonight. Bending our hook here with some needle nose pliers. This one was not as cooperative as the last one, but it's all right. We're going to match the barb down for panfish fishing. Nice to have a mash barb. And then we are going to make our jig with a little bend. Perfect jig. The perfect part is debatable. Got a bead. I'm going to grab it with our needle nose pliers to help give us some better control. And with the bead, if they're slotted, or I mean, if they're really any type of like fly tying bead, usually one end is going to have a smaller diameter than the other end. That is the end that goes through the hook point first, because that's going to be the one that sits up on that goes up towards the eye of the hook. So the thinner diameter you want that near the eye of the hook. Okay. Gonna add some wire, as per usual. Lead free 0.20 tonight, normally 0.015. And I just dropped it. I may have gone too short with this because it's very hard to handle. I was being stingy with the wire. You don't gotta be stingy, but I like to save as much material as I can just with the amount of flies that I tie. On a yearly basis. Okay, once we get that, we slide it up to the top of our bead head as far as possible. before we attach our thread here. Once again, it's a fluorescent orange ultra thread in 70 denier. Do a quick secure of the wire here. Not a full secure though. We'll do that later. Shortly. But later. Thread dam at the bend of the hook for our marabou tie-in point. Okay, we pulled out some golden olive material here. I'm just gonna put that away because we're done with that tonight now. Now we just gotta get all this in a good position before wetting it. This. And now we tie it in. Just gotta position it with, use both hands to kind of transfer the back and forth positioning of it until you've got it where you want it to be. And then secure it down. We're going to use this to help build the body of the fly to the back of the wire. And snip it free. Got any stragglers, you can usually just pull them with your hand without cutting them. Marabou is pretty thin. I did like the way the tinsel looked, but this time we're going to go silver. And I think we're going to do a blue here for the flash. So which blue is going to look good, or best, I should say. I think they'll all look good, but which one's going to look best? And then let me just pre-plan a little bit what. I think I'll use a gray, like a Salbug gray or Scud and Shrimp gray for the dubbing. Which, I'm looking at these colors here. I know they're not in focus, but you can see the colors at least. I think that's a winner. I want to make sure that I get more this time than the last time. That's one thing I haven't done yet tonight is tie these with more flash material. This is not cooperating with me. Sorry, chat. It's all twisted. I don't want a piece that's twisted to deal with right now. Deal with those later. All right, we got a substantially longer piece this time, so I'm gonna cut that up into different segments, and then fold it around our thread and attach it. Okay, we're only using one color per night for those, so that is now gone. Just gonna fold this in half, as close to half as possible. And then I'm gonna slide my scissors up the middle of it, like this, and cut it. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing, maybe. Or no, that's about the length that we need, so I'm only cutting it twice, or once. Then I'm attaching it by looping it over the thread, then attaching it to the top of the shank. I gotta comb it back with some thread wraps rearward. All right, two of those are longer, but I actually kind of like that. Makes it a good looking shape. Okay, this time I want to use silver tinsel. So I'm going to use gold wire instead of silver for some contrast. Contrasting colors and then like similar colors is always a deadly combination with fly fishing. You want certain things to stick out and you want others to blend in. So gotta make this a smoother transition because tinsel does not contour well, or it contours too well, I should say. It doesn't really make its own body. It gives whatever, it takes whatever form lies underneath it. So be careful with that. And once again, with tinsel, you're going to want to tie in the opposite of the color you want to use. So tinsel is usually comes in two tones. One side is one color and the other side's the other color, of course. If we want to use silver as the base, then we got to tie in the gold facing us so that when we make our wraps, and this isn't cooperating with me, so I'm going to give our bobbin a counterclockwise spin so it kind of catches it as I tie this on there. But anyway, you want to tie the opposite of the side that you want visible towards you. When you start making wraps away from you, they will reveal the opposite side at that point. Okay. So this time we're going silver. Just gotta be very careful with these. You don't want any real gaps. I see one now, but luckily we got enough. I'm gonna go back to it. As long as we can make our way back to the front, we're Gucci. Alright, that's unfortunate. Pretty much got to start over with the tinsel, so I accidentally let go. Yeah, even there I got to restart. Tinsel is just like hackle in terms of like when you're wrapping it tight around here, you let go of that stuff and it is done. It will unravel faster than you can grab it. All right, secure this in, snip it off. Then we're gonna wrap our gold wire up to this point as well. Hopefully without trapping any of this other material. The flash is trying to come with it. Just gonna brush everything forward before doing this. And you want to make open equal distant wraps with the wire. These I'm making a little more tighter than the last 3 flies. And securing it in. Before helicoptering the wire off and discarding of it. All right, so I said we're going to use some silver or gray dubbing, UV dubbing. And we're going to stick to that. And unfortunately, I think this is going to be our last fly for the night, y'all. So once again, get your questions in now if you can, and we'll do my best to answer them. Or if you just want to say hey, let me know in the comments. And we got our gray, and it has some hints of blue in it with the like flash and the UV portion of it. So it goes well with this flash tail that we have. But I'm actually thinking of a better combination that I'm looking at over here next to us. But unfortunately, this is going to be our last fly. So we're just going to pack these up as we go, as we're done with them. Kind of declutters the area here. But that dubbing is good, at least until we brush it out later. So we're going to whip finish and then apply some head cement to this, to the thread wraps of the whip finish. Help lock it in. All right, we're done with the thread. We're going to need the bodkin. There's our bodkin pool. No, I seen it yesterday. I did not see it today. Okay, that's usually how we attach. We usually use our bodkin tool to apply the head cement, but I'm not seeing it right now, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to use that to do it. I think, I don't know, perch have, it could be pretty annoying with their bites and takes. So I think it's going to be pretty necessary to have that. But oh well. Oh well. We'll be alright without it. Okay. Alright. Well, we are not going to do head cement because Yeah. Just checking out my computer over here. Making sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're good. All right, 1 second. We're gonna finish this up here soon, but give me 1 second. All right, we're back. This is our last fly of the night, and yeah, we got some mostly yellow and green looking flies. We got some short-tailed ones, some long-tailed ones, some higher thicknesses. We got some orange-bodied ones. We got a gold body and a silver-bodied one. A decent selection for tomorrow. I already have some of these made up, so that have lasted me quite a while. So these are just different combinations. I could literally you could literally tie any of these and in different combinations and always have a different combination. You could tie a different fly every single time with these and never run out. So you can kind of see the selection we got here, at least for the most part. This is a weird camera angle for me, so it's kind of hard to hold them up like that. But we're going to throw these in the fly box here, and we'll actually do that right now. So I typically use like this small box for when I'm actually on the water. It's got whatever I'm trying to use for that day. So last time I was out, I was steelhead fishing. As you can see, you got a lot of steelhead patterns and some woolly buggers as well. So I got some egg patterns and woolly buggers. I'm going to take those out, put them in a container like this that has more of my flies in it, and swap them out with some of my jig heads, perch and panfish. So I'm just opening that up. I'm gonna put these flies down for a second and start putting these away. So I'm just gonna take out the woolly buggers because they take up a lot of space. And then they'll be easy to replace in the box here later. Also got some flies that I've met with people on the Salmon River. I usually put those flies in here. On flies that I trade with people. It's always fun. If you ever see me on the river or anywhere else and you want to, and just give me a shout and I'll trade flies with you. That's always fun. But anyway, I had fun tonight. Hopefully we can have some fun tomorrow catching fish. I think we will. There's been very few times where I haven't at least caught some keepers. I mean, you spend enough time on the water, you're eventually gonna get skunked or not get the numbers that you want, but so far I have not been able to complain about ice fishing. So let's hopefully keep that streak going. I'm just moving some egg patterns around here. I had some egg patterns on the same side as the woolly buggers, so I'm just adjusting those now. So that I got room to put all my jigs together and be organized together. And I'll show you my box here when I'm finished. Kind of show you what I typically take and use when I go for panfish flies. In terms of what flies I'm using. But I'm literally still just going back and forth with this thing, as you can see. Just taking some egg patterns out of here, putting them in the next one without jamming my finger, a hook through my finger. I still got some packing to do too. It's getting late. I have to wake up in a few hours to make sure that we get to the right spot. Okay, we got a pink one and then 2 white ones. Too easy. All right, we got one side clear. We're gonna put our new flies in there first. And we're gonna throw some old ones in there. Old but good. All right, we got a clean start here. These tails are a little long, so I want to put them in a place where they're not going to really get pinched in the case here. You guys are sticking together. All right, there's the duck flies we tied tonight. Similar, but all different in their own way. Next, I'm just grabbing some little guys here for our other stuff. Grabbing different sizes, colors, shapes, you name it. Patterns, they're all different. So wide range of stuff. Going a bunch of natural colors here, non-natural colors. Shiny colors, dull colors. Gotta have a wide range of sizes, colors, and types, which is what I'm doing right now in this selection process here. And then I'll show you guys what I'm using at the end. I'll show you the flies I selected. And I'm not going to fill this thing up, but I mean, it's going to get kind of close. All right. I think I'm actually good with this here. So this is what I'm going to fish tomorrow. These are just all different patterns, colors, shapes, sizes. That's all you can do. But anyway, I think we just got to do some. I got to prep the other rod here with the hook and tying a double Palomar knot for that. I'm not tying the hooks on because they're all right here, but I'm going to tie the leader on, most likely, and then call it a night. So I'm going to put these flies back in here. Got to put the woolly buggers away. That's what I'm doing now. Got to get them tucked away here safely. No one gets jabbed when they go to grab a hook. And when I say no one, I mean myself. So I do that all the time. And it's frustrating. Okay, those are done. All right, let's get some tippet and a fishing rod. So right now we got this rod's set up mostly. We just got a barrel swivel attached to, or a swivel attached to a snelled hook leader, but I'm not going to do that. We also got a little weight here attached. I'm going to keep that to help sink our jig down a little faster. But with jigging, you obviously keep it off the ground. So we're not going to bottom bounce this per se. I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to put this snell hook away safely. We'll go back to what we were doing here. Right, tippet. So we're going to use some 6X tippet. To start. I'm just grabbing a few feet of this. Doesn't have to be a lot. Snipping it off. And we're gonna make a perfections loop with this. I don't know, it's probably even hard to see it. But I just make a loop. Pretty big loop first. Gonna make another loop like around my thumb. This is not cooperating with me. I'm trying to get it on camera, but I know it's also very hard to see, so I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. And then I go between those two loops with my tag end of the thread. And I just pull the second loop through the first loop. And that's a perfections loop. I'm gonna moisten the knot before I cinch it down. It's a non-slip loop knot, and it's really easy to tie. And I'm just simply attaching that to my swivel. Too easy. So tomorrow we're gonna leave around 6:30. Luckily, we don't have to go very far. A lot of these locations are close. Up here in the North Country, there are a ton of ponds and lakes around, so you don't have to drive that far up here to go fishing. It's one of the great things about up here. All right, we got ourselves a rod set up here. Now we just gotta set up one more, and then we're gonna head off the stream here and finish packing because we gotta wake up in not a long. We don't have a long time to sleep. Let's just say that. We gotta wake up pretty shortly here, but that's all right. I wanted to do this stream and get some stuff out there. I would have started earlier, but I was working on my master bathroom and remodeling it, so I had to get some tiling done. So that delayed me a little bit for the stream, but that's okay. Just setting up this rod now. It's spooled, but I just gotta thread it through the eyelets here. Put our weight on, which actually I'm not gonna be able to put our weight on because it's in my bag in the truck, my fishing gear. And we just make sure that we're not going over top of the rod. We're going through all the eyes. And I know you guys can't really see this, but I can't have a camera that covers all angles of this. And yeah, that's gonna be it because my swivels are also in my bag. So we'll have to do that tomorrow. Right, let me go through my list here. So obviously, when I'm going ice fishing, I'm taking snacks and sandwiches and an insulated cup for water or Gatorade or whatever I'm drinking. We're gonna be wearing snow gear with waterproof snowmobile pants and jacket, with some good boots, wool socks, and the appropriate layers underneath. So obviously your wicking layer, your insulating layer, and then your outer layer, and then your waterproof layer on the outside. We're going to bring a pack of extra clothes in case we get wet or cold on the way out, a towel to dry off if we need. We're going to get some hand warmers. We're going to bring 2 buckets with 2 5-gallon buckets to sit on, one for each of us. And this is just for me and my son. There's going to be other folks there, but we're going to sit on the buckets. We're going to carry our stuff out to the shanties with our bucket, and then we're going to sit on the bucket in the shanty and then carry our stuff out with it, or carry fish out with it, one of the two. We got our GoPro. We'll have our GoPro attachments and the tripod, hopefully. I might do a live stream tomorrow from the ice if I can get good cell service. We'll see. It'll be my first time doing that, so bear with me if you do happen to see it. I got to take my son's tablet and his headphones in case he gets bored out there when we're not catching fish. He can entertain himself without interfering with the rest of us. We're going to take our rods. We're taking two ice rods, 5 tip-ups, 5 insulated covers. We got our treble hooks, the size 4s that I showed earlier in the video. And we got our steel leaders. They're all already attached to my tip-ups, but I got some extra ones in case they break off. We got our tippet holder here with various sizes. I got from 3X to 7X, so that'll be enough to cover us for sure. I also have some ice fishing tippet in the truck, but I don't know. I don't really think that it's necessary. It does help probably, but it's hard for me to tell difference. Then we're gonna take our flies and our jigs. It's like we did. We tied 4 of these earlier, and this is primarily what we're gonna use for panfish when we're not catching pike off the tippets. So that's about it. We're gonna take a cooler, of course, and then we're gonna have some fun with ice fishing. So I hope I can stream it for y'all out there a little bit at least. I won't be able to do the whole thing, but either way, I'm hoping to try that out for the first time. And I hope you guys have a great night. We will catch you next time, and hopefully, if we don't stream it, hopefully we at least get some footage to make either a shorts video or some long content videos. So, thanks for stopping by. I will catch you next time. I'm out of here.